God of War, things that piss me off and ruin my fun in this game. First of all, let's make one thing clear. I like the game. Do I believe it's a masterpiece? No, it's far from it. It has its flaws, but it's for sure a very good game. I'm having a blast playing it, but this is not a video about what's good in God of War. This is the video of what's wrong and bad in the game in hopes to see some improvements in the upcoming God of War Ragnarok. So let's begin. My first issue with the game is that camera is way too close. It's just way too close. I had a feeling like I was playing Dead Space in some cases, not to mention how it can get you killed while fighting close to the walls. Alright. Solution: 20 to 30% bigger field of view, and of course Kratos should be a bit more, like 10% more to the right, towards the middle of the screen, instead of hugging the left side of the screen. You can easily see enemies on his right side, but you can never see enemies on Kratos' left side. The angle is just way too small. Problem number 2. Kratos is a snail. He walks extremely slow. He runs extremely slow like a snail, and he sprints like a grandpa, like he came straight out of Dead Space. I'm telling you right now, go and play Dead Space. Isaac runs faster than him. He is a god of war, not a snail of war. He just needs to move faster because 90% of enemies are faster than him. What's also very wrong: combat. He also moves the same inside and outside of combat. Like a snail, okay? Like a complete snail. He needs to have some combat stance, okay? He can't use the same walking and running animations outside and inside the combat. Just imagine him with some half-bent knees in the battle-ready stance while fighting mobs, alright? He is acting the same no matter if it's inside or outside the combat. Next problem: skills and spells are limited due to console controls. Being able to equip only 2 spells per weapon is just low amount, let's be real. One button could resolve this. Why did they make all of those spells if you can't switch them during the actual combat? You need to enter the menu and then switch them. I believe that's a very bad decision from devs. If you can do it in all Souls-likes, in all other games, alright, to switch spells along the way, I see no reason why God of War doesn't have that option. The next problem, and probably the biggest one, is no combo meter. This game would be 10 times more immersive and more fun if they just implemented combo meters during fights, not to mention rewards for perfect combos. Alright, one of the many reasons why people love classic third-person hack and slash games are combo meters, but new God of War became more like closed world RPG instead of classic linear hack and slash. Still, I believe the game has a great potential for a combo meter no matter what. It would just add more to the immersion. The next problem is the difficulty balancing. I played on Give Me God of War, the hardest difficulty in the game, and all I can say is that this game has some serious balance issues. In the first 10 hours of the game, it's extremely hard because enemies take like 50 hits to drop, while you get one-shotted as a proper snail of war. In the next 20 hours, it gets a bit less annoying, but still with huge balancing problems. You start to deal some damage, but you're still getting one-shotted. After 30 hours in, finally you start dealing serious damage. The game becomes fun, even though you can still get one-shotted. And after 40 hours, once you get all of that highest level 8 with 3 sockets gear, or level 7, it doesn't matter to be honest, you become way much stronger. You basically transform from a snail of war into the shadow of God of War, where you deal damage, burst like crazy, and this time it takes 2 and above hits for you to drop dead. Now, I guess since these issues are like that on hardest difficulty, easier difficulties are a walk in a park after 20 hours in the game, and the game probably completely loses challenge and balance factor even earlier than on its hardest difficulty. Solution: easier start, more gear at the start, a bit weaker enemies and a bit stronger enemies towards mid and especially during late game. Optimization is the next issue. The game, it works like a proper garbage. It works the same on both high settings, low settings, medium settings, and ultra settings. Frames, they just go up and down. They got their own brains, I guess. That's just a huge issue and they need to fix that immediately. The next issue is repeating enemy models. This is probably the biggest problem in this game, the one that's beyond fixing, but I hope to see some improvements in the next game. 7 bosses in the game are just reskins that change colors: Frost Giant, Magma Giant, Poison Giant, Regular Giant, and so on. Ice Elemental, Soul Eater, Fire Elemental, Lightning Elemental, and so on. Enemies too: Blue Nightmares, Yellow Nightmares, Red Nightmares. I mean, come on. Come on. Reused execution animations on every enemy. You know, one simple execution per enemy. If Doom could have like 20 different executions per enemy, I don't see why God of War couldn't have at least 3 different executions per enemy or per boss. So why is all of that impossible in God of War? The answer: devs are just lazy. Next problem: low amount of resources at the start, extremely low amount. Crazy amount of resources by the end game when you don't need them at all. And this game revolves a lot around loot, cause the better the loot, the higher your level, which means those purple enemies will become white so you can actually deal some damage to them without being one-shotted. The next issue: way too many brain-dead puzzles for children under 10 years of age. They take the precious game time away from you. If you create a puzzle, make sure it's a proper one instead of a time waster with pulling levers and sticking your axe into them. Now, speaking about game time, once you finish the game, you will say how it's long, okay? Yeah, you spent like 60 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours for 100% completion rate, but there is a big but. Let's say you play 100 hours, 10 hours of your precious life was spent on Snail of War, cause he walks in slow-mo, and he spends a lot of time on the boat too, going nowhere. 10 hours of your precious lifetime so goes on running, jogging, and walking. 10 hours goes on a boat. 10 hours of your precious lifetime was on a brain-dead puzzles to fetch or hit something to open the next door to advance to the next encounter. And 10 hours went into itemization. So you see, around 40% of your total game time is straight time-wasting crap, and that's a reality. So, instead of 100 hours of your game time, you actually played this game for 60 hours. So, don't get deceived by your game time. Make sure that you count only the time while the gameplay lasts, not while you're doing nothing at all. Even with all of those issues, I had a lot of fun with the game. The game is really good, and you can check it out in my review of what I said over there about God of War. I gave it 8.8 out of 10, the final score. Very close to being a masterpiece, but it has so many stupid decisions and so many stupid issues that I just can't put it in the category of a masterpiece. It's just a very good game. I'll thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.